welcome to the JTrain podcast. It's JTrain, Jared Freed, coming to you live from the West Village of Manhattan. We're here every Monday with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. Let me say it again. Thank you. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you for enjoying this great show. Thank you for telling a brother, a sister, a mama, a papa, anyone with ears, and letting them know about this great show. Make it your Instagram story, all that good stuff to spread the word. If we've helped you, if we, there's an exchange of goods for services. We put out a product and you share it, and that I consider payment. That's a beautiful thing. That's always good when people give and take. We love that. And I want to thank you for watching the special, 37 and Single. It is out on Netflix. Make sure you go watch it. Share that. Enjoy that. I'm also on the road. We'll get through the road dates quickly. It is a completely different hour from the special. So if you've seen the special, if you're bringing someone who hasn't seen it, they're saving it, they don't want to repeat the jokes, it doesn't matter. You can go watch it, enjoy it, have fun with it on your own time, and then come to the live show, because this Thursday, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. There's about 100 seats left. 100. That's it. And they're going quick, baby. 100 seats left in Atlanta, Georgia. Then I'm going to be in Huntington, Long Island. I have never been to Huntington, Long Island. I'm excited. Everyone's saying it's the hot spot. I've been hearing such good things. Every time you say Huntington, Long Island, they go, oh, no, you don't even know. There's so much going on there. Well, you know what's going on there? On September 29th, your boy JTrain, telling the funnies. Bring the family. All the jokes are about family. It's all about family. So you're going to love it. Your mama, your papa, your sister, your brother, and friends. You're going to be sitting there hitting your dad, being like, he's talking about you, you fucking piece of shit. So I'm coming to Seattle. Seattle, the first show sold out. Second show, there's tickets available. Charlotte is coming around the corner. Philadelphia added a second show. Took a chance here. The first one sold out. Added a second. We are we're about a month away. And then I'm coming to Syracuse. Just added to the calendar. Syracuse, New York. Ring that bell, Shelby. Let us know about Syracuse. Washington, D.C. Added a second show. Baltimore, Dania Beach, Portland, Phoenix, San Diego, Boston, second show added. Chicago, second show added. Beautiful thing. We love it. JaredFreed.com for tickets. JaredFreed.com for tickets. JaredFreed.com for the tickets. Very excited about today's guest, hilarious comic. He has a one-man show, and it's at the Under St. Mark's Theater here in New York City. It's October 5th, 7th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. So these are limited dates. You want to get a ticket right now. Graham K., thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jared. And my show is also about family. It's about the show is called Pete and Me, and it's a non-depressing look at autism and family.
Always good when we have to let people know this isn't going to be depressing. Please come.
Yes.
Always a good sign when you're like, okay, I know what you're thinking right away. This is going to depress you. No. We're going to talk about autism in a fun way. Now, it's about you and your brother is autistic. This is what the show's about, I'm assuming.
Yeah. He does have autism. I'm not making it up. Other people make up stuff.
That'd be pretty evil.
Yeah. People, I've like called club bookers I know and been like, can I put on this show at your club? People who like normally are like, yeah, we'll have you. And then they're like, yeah, but are you making fun of him?
Right. I guess that's the first question. I wouldn't think that you would make this up. My first thought is like, what's the discussion between you and your brother about this show that you're putting together? Like, how does that, do you tell one joke about your brother and then you see that he likes it? How does it start,
Well, he's not in the show, but I just basically talk about what it's like growing up when your sibling is severely disabled. No one ever talks about that. No one ever talks about what the sibling side of it, the kind of sacrifices you have to make growing up, which is fine. You're happy to do it, but it's tough at the time when you're 9 to learn about sacrifice, to learn that for the rest of your life, your parents are going to devote all their attention to this person, and it's nobody's fault. You just have to accept it.
Right. And it's personal to you. That's the thing that people kind of forget. Like stand-up comedy, when it's done right, and like I talk about my mom and dad a lot in this show, and there was not one moment where I was like, what will my mom think? Because it's all my opinion. It's my side of the story.
Right.
It's from my lens and my viewpoint. So I could understand where you're saying here, this is just me as the brother. I'm not speaking for my brother. I'm not speaking
100%.
for my parents. I'm speaking for myself from this angle of this, three camera shoot. I'm one camera on this sitcom that is our family.
Yeah, that's you got it exactly. A lot of the only people that have a problem with it, most people don't, are people who don't have a disability in their family. Mm-hmm. Everyone who has a disability in their family is like, yes, thank you. And people with disabilities come out to the show. Who have autism, they are not insulted by it because it's not a mean show. It's about love. It's basically me grappling with, my parents are 75. Mm-hmm. I might have to move back to Canada. I live in New York. Mm-hmm. My whole life I wanted to be Jerry in the show Seinfeld, like have his life as a comedian, and I have that now. And I'm a professional comedian. I have a nice apartment. I have a car. I got a bunch of wacky friends. I'm on TV once or twice a year. That's all. And I might have to give that all up to move back to Canada, take care of my brother in the next little while. Also, my ex didn't want to have a kid with me because my brother has autism, and 3 times the likely chance that I would have a child with autism.
That was a part of the breakup. We're going to get a lot of emails about dating and relationships. How does that come up? How does that conversation start? And again, as things do, they start with like one little thing. Like, again, I'll make it myself. Like when I start talking about my parents and my family, it starts with one joke that I really like telling. And then it turns into, there's this other thing and this other thing. That's like most conversations. So you're with someone how long?
We lived together just over 2 years. And after about 6 months, you start asking each other these questions.
Right.
But then you're in love, so if you don't get the right answer, you just sort of muscle through it and, try and lie to yourself. And you go, well, it took so long to find this person. I'm 400 years old. I should probably, I'll make it work. I'll figure it out. I'll convince this person. And you kind of just sit in it. And then you both kind of have a mild panic attack brewing for the next year until it explodes.
Now, which is
healthy.
Sure. We all like a good explosion of the heart. But I'm saying, I guess I'm wondering, maybe I'm not as open with the people I date that early, but you say, hey, what do you think about kids? And they're like, of course I want kids. And then you say, well, actually, just so you know, do you say it there? Like, is that part of that talk?
Well, like, I don't bring it up that way. I think they get to know your family, and he's a pretty big part of my life. I talk to him every single day. He calls me every morning. He's my alarm clock every morning.
What time does he call?
He calls at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And because I sleep in, so I try and get up between 9 and 10. So he's my safety valve. And every morning, out of a dead sleep, I FaceTime a man in his 30s, and we pretend that we are Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. So she kind of figured it out that there's just a man I'm talking to who's pretending to
I would be assume Ernie. So, hey, what's happening? What's the sketch you're doing?
Yeah. Don't look at me.
But I'm saying,
this is my time.
I guess to me that seems like to me that feels like an extreme reason to end a relationship. I don't know why. From the out, and again, that's from the outside looking in. So I don't know. How
it is. It totally broke my heart, and I was really angry. Like, why wouldn't she want someone like my brother? But to be fair, this is somebody who wasn't sure they ever wanted kids.
Okay.
Is very, I don't mind saying this because she's open about it, but has depression, worries about postpartum, has been dealt with pretty badly with depression in the past. And so she's kind of just looking out for herself in a way. And
well, I guess like most breakups,
sucks, but
But sorry to interrupt, but like most breakups, it's generally not one thing. You just named, a whole.
No, it's all her fault. And I've done nothing wrong.
Right.
And I'm very good. I'm a good guy.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I have no faults. No faults.
Are you single now?
Yes. But it's not because I have no faults.
No, listen. I mean, when do you bring up the relationship with your brother? Like, I guess, like, I'm asking this question only because the show is about this. But I don't know. I bring up my relationship with my brother on a first date, but that would be a different type of conversation, of course.
No, I mean, I just let it happen organically. They go like, if you have any siblings, and I'll say yes, and they say how old, and I'll say 39, and then they'll say, what does he do for a living? And I'll say he works 6 hours a week as a janitor. And they'll be like, oh, and then I'll have to explain why that's actually a huge success for us that he's doing that.
If someone said, I'm like thinking if I'm in the other seat and someone said like I work, my brother works 6 hours a week as a janitor, I would go, good for that. Like I wouldn't be like, what's going on here? I don't know if I would be that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I use that as an example, but there's other things like
the Bert and Ernie thing is pretty good. I think that's a good way to
something's going on.
Slow roll what's going on, right? But maybe my brother and I do fun things too.
Yeah, well, I hope it's like that. That'd be pretty adorable. Just two neurotypical men just pretending they're.
Yeah, I mean, we play fantasy football and talk about other men who play football all the time. So, I mean, that's a little. If you get to the brass tacks of it, if you really think about what we're talking about, it's really nothing.
Yeah, it's not a huge leap. That's a good point. The more I like to think about my brother, like he's got like he's a man in his 30s.
Mm-hmm.
He gets lonely sometimes. He's
like
single.
Anybody.
He drinks a little bit too much, but doesn't have a huge problem. He probably eats too much red meat. But he lives on his own. Needs some help now and again. It's pretty much every second 30-something guy.
Right. I mean, that doesn't sound so different. And that's every single guy in his late 30s, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Needs a little help. Can't get to the wedding with like the right suit on. Like that's me.
That's
right. So, well,
listen,
we
needs his mom to say, don't wear Crocs to the wedding. So
this is going to be a very relatable show for people to go watch. But again, what's the difference? What would you say? Like, is there meant to be a takeaway? Is there something that people walk away with knowing, or are they relating to it as a family, as someone that has siblings? I'm sure everyone goes in there and walks out and goes, oh, that's because I'm hearing you talk about with your brother. It doesn't have to deal with autism to me. Like I talk to my brother every day in a certain way too.
Yeah, well, I guess the takeaway would be that number one, autism awareness, and number two, that there's not enough help for people who are adults who have autism. All the sort of social assistance kind of ends once they leave high school, college, maybe, depending where you are. So it's really up to you're the family, and if the family has means to make sacrifices.
Right.
But if the family doesn't have means to, then they're like literally on the street. So. Right.
And means doesn't even just mean money. Like it means time, like to look into all the services and find the right services and find, I guess loophole is the wrong word, but like the right phone number to call. Sometimes that's even a thing I've heard. I don't know from experience, but I just know that that's a big part of it.
If you are like uneducated and you have like 3 jobs and 4 children, you don't have time, to find the right number. It's like a full-time job to wrangle the right services and get through all the red tape and find the groups that will do it for you or help you. And then if they do exist in your area, which they probably don't,
right?
But yeah, so that's kind of it. And yeah, there's no real takeaway. It's just like what is it like? What is it like to have someone with a disability in your family, especially if you're the only sibling? What does that mean in the future? it's all on you. It was on me growing up. It's affected my relationships. I know, like it's definitely like I'm seeing a therapist now. You're welcome, ladies. And
we have a hero amongst us.
Yeah. But it's just very, very evident that one of the reasons why I've been single for a long time is because I grew up in chaos. Complete. My parents are crazy. My brother was a stressful situation that exacerbated the craziness. I dealt with a bunch of issues as like a teenager, which I get into. I got sent to boot camp and stuff. And anyway, everything was got really bad OCD, and so when I look at relationships, I think of them as like a crazy place.
Right.
So I'm like, why do I want to get embroiled in that mess? I just want to be safe and alone. Right. And every time I'd look for somebody, and my ex actually was the least dramatic of all my exes, but every one of my exes have been an absolute hurricane of a person.
Okay.
Because I'm like, this is what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Right.
Just a bipolar, violent alcoholic.
I guess when you're alone, less variables, less chance for failure, all those things. And that's a relatable thing to anyone that's single later in life and not sure about moving to the next step. Well, we want everyone to go check out Graham's show. It is called Pete and Me, and it is at the under St. Mark's Theater. It's a great small venue, fun, great night out in the village, fun. You're gonna have and people that listen to this show, I say this all the time. If you're living in New York or you're visiting, you're looking for that cool thing that, how do I do the thing that it would be New Yorky? I would say this is the most New Yorky thing you could do. Go to Graham's Instagram at Mr. Graham K. It is October 5th, 7th, 12th, and 13th, and 14th under St. Mark's Theater. You're going to love the show. Go enjoy it. Graham's social media will be all over mine and also in the description of this episode. Are you ready to do the show? You ready to answer some emails?
I am. I have one more promo, though. If you don't live in the New York area, I've got a YouTube special called Graham K Live in a Bowling Alley.
There it is. So it's literally... If you're on YouTube, you can see it right behind Graham's head is the poster for Live in a Bowling Alley, and you can go catch it on YouTube. Go to Graham's Instagram at Mr. Graham K. All the links are there. Are you ready? JTrainPodcast at gmail.com, JTrainPodcast at gmail.com. That's where you send your emails. Again, lifestyle, friendship, relationships, all the stuff you want a perspective on from people who don't know anything but honestly don't have to look you in the eye to tell you what they really think, and most of your friends can't do that. So before we get started, you used to only have two options: make coffee at home and make a total mess of your kitchen, or waste tons of time to splurge at the drive-thru. Now there's the best option, Cometeer. Cometeer makes frozen coffee pucks from craft coffee beans by the very best roasters in the country. Each coffee puck is flash frozen at peak flavor to lock in freshness. So I had a long conversation with the Cometeer people about a year ago. They didn't sponsor the podcast. They just sent me a bunch. They said, basically, coffee, when you see it in the grocer or when you smell it at Starbucks, it is literally dying as you smell it. And what they do is the minute they get it grown, they flash freeze it and they send you off a little concentrated little puck. And I didn't believe it until I tasted it. It's the best coffee I have ever had. It's all your favorite roasters, and they have different varieties and things like that. But you have to taste it to believe it. Like, I'm someone who uses sweet and low because I don't like a bitter taste. The bitterness is gone. It is like a real cup of coffee. It's a fun thing to make. It comes in these cold concentrates. You can put it with ice and fill it with water. You can put it with hot water. I really do. As a coffee drinker myself, I'd probably drink coffee 3 times a day. Coffee's an event for me. This has been part of my now coffee rotation. You're going to love it. For hot coffee, just drop the puck of frozen coffee extract into your coffee. Add hot water to melt it. You can make iced coffee lattes, even affogatos and martinis. The options are endless. So join the future of coffee with Cometeer and get a curated starter pack of their most popular roasts. Go to cometeer.com/JTrain to get a free 8-pack and a travel mug when you sign up. That's a free 8-pack of coffees and a travel mug when you sign up at cometeer.com/JTrain. I have to tell you, people, I love it. I am a huge Cometeer drinker, and I think you got to taste it to know about it. And again, the travel mug is pretty great. I have that too. So get on that, Cometeer. Let's get to the emails. You ready, Graham K?
I'm locked in.
SOS, how do I get over this ick? Dear JTrain, love you and all that you do. I have a problem. I'm on Hinge and I'm matching with a lot of guys that seem great. But there's one thing that immediately gives me the ick. Sometimes I'll be nosy and look back at their profile after a couple of dates and see that they changed their prompts, pictures, locations, etc. I cannot figure out why this bothers me so much. I think it's partially because it solidifies that they're still looking for other options, but it also feels like they're trying way too hard to get laid. Like, read a book or go outside. Why are you spending time changing your Hinge profile? Do you have any advice on how to get past this? Or when I see this, should I throw in the towel because clearly they aren't interested enough to focus just on me? Appreciate any insight you have. Come back to San Francisco soon. What do you think, Graham K?
I get it. I've done the same thing, and I felt the same way. And
you've seen them change their profile after you've gone on a date.
Yeah. If I like somebody, you only do it when you like somebody.
Right.
And then and you already know you're in trouble. As soon as you do that, you're like, oh man, I'm like, they aren't as locked in as I am because they're changing it. And I'm obviously like you too much because I'm checking, and then you start looking at your text exchange, and there's just way too much blue, not enough gray. Like there's way too much of you on there.
Right,
on the text.
You're swimming in the Atlantic.
Oh my god, yeah,
you're drowning.
Yeah, it's just a fact of the matter. It's just modern dating, and the reason why you feel that way is not because you're wrong. It's because you're a human being.
Right.
And you've shared something with somebody. And online dating, it just makes people feel like it makes it easy for them to consider you not a real human being.
Right.
They can just swipe away.
This is a classic example of, look at me, I went ahead and hurt my own feelings. You know, like just by looking, and everything you say is correct. Sometimes the answer's in the email. I think it's funny. This question's about what do I do about getting past people looking, changing their profile after we've gone on the date. I'm telling you, let's go I don't think that's what the question's about. They write a couple things. They say this bothers me this bothers me a lot. It also feels like they're trying hard to get laid. Do you have any advice on how to get past this? Or when I see this, should I throw in the towel because clearly they aren't interested enough to focus on me? Yeah, I guess those are ways of looking at it. But to me, let's start practicing getting turned off. And I think it's interesting that they're like swimming against the current of their own feelings. Like, when you see that they've changed their profile, they even write, like, go read a book or go outside. Like, okay, you're turned off. Like you have moved on from dating app to the point where you're making sure that it's okay for you to move on. You like them so much. And I think like this person's just avoiding their feelings at every turn because they like them so much to go look back and say, well, hopefully they didn't change anything because I'm on step 2 of many step program.
Yeah.
They need to go and be disappointed in these people, be turned off. And maybe, I don't think it's about getting over it. It's about letting someone know, hey, I saw you change your profile. I'm a little turned off by that. I'm kind of on step 2 with you. Or it's going, I'm turned off enough to let this lie and move on. But I think for them, it's like, there's no such thing as getting over an ick. Once you see it, it can't be unseen. You are turned off. And I think it's okay to let that wash over your body a little bit. Don't you feel the resistance to their own feelings in this email?
Yeah, 100. Yeah, you have to accept that you're turned off, and this person, maybe you're like, oh, he's too desperate. He looks desperate, and
Right.
that's a turn off. Maybe you know
Right.
what? This person helped me get over the next person that I see do that, because I'm going to be like, oh yeah, it's desperate. They're desperate.
Right. Change the perspective. I think that's a big part of this. It's like your perspective is so key to your dating life. And it's like, it's okay to go, oh, you're just out there going to get laid, which means you only went on the date with me to get laid, which means that when it didn't work out with me, you're still texting with me because maybe you'll fuck me in the future. Listen, that might also turn other people on. Hey, I was on this date just to get laid. Now I know they're on it to get laid. It can go both ways. If you're stuck in right, wrong, then you're done in dating. If you live in that ain't for me, you're going to be so much better off, because what this person is looking is for like almost like an allowance to be feeling what they feel like. And I totally understand. They want to go to they want to come to the JTrain podcast and go, right, look at this idiot trying to get laid. And in my opinion on that is, people are out there just trying to get laid. Sorry.
Yeah, they are.
It's raining out. And that you have that right too. Guess what? You also have the right to go, ew, you were just trying to get laid, or you have the right to go, oh, they're just trying to get laid. Like, it can go all ways. So, it's funny. This person would probably hear us say like, oh, that could excite you. And they're like, who would that excite? Someone. That's what this person's hoping for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's, again, feel the feelings. As much as that's hokey and cheesy advice, this person's doing everything they can not to feel.
Yeah. It's also before online dating, after you met a guy in a coffee shop and you exchanged numbers and went on a date, he was still out there.
Right.
Until you both had a conversation.
Ignorance is bliss. If
Yeah.
And honestly, if I'm this person, I can't tell you not to look back. Like, that's a way of like not having to feel this way again. But I think your natural, like, I think like, again, like, to feel your feelings, your natural motion was to make sure that this person was safe. And you found out that maybe they're not. Now, I'm not saying them changing their profile is 100% meaning that they're out there just lurking in bushes trying to fuck. But the chances are more likely. Yeah, that'd be bad.
That would be bad.
But
if they were
on the spectrum of things,
offender, bad.
Right.
Red flag.
That's a bad thing. But again, on the list of options, the percentages change. Now, I also think it's okay to say, hey, if you've been on 5 dates with someone and you're like right on the edge of deleting the apps, and then you're like, okay, on my way out the door, let me go check their Hinge profile, and then you see that it's a whole new profile, I think it's also okay to let that person know, like, and again, this is me encouraging vulnerability.
It's just them working out.
Right. The
like,
shirt off.
God.
I guess.
No.
It's them holding a sign that says, one last fuck before I go into marriage. You're like, oh no, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Again,
another red flag.
There's a red flag. And I would also say to this person, if that was the case, that's an extreme case, but it's not so extreme to be like, again, like if we're like read between the lines, it's not that extreme to go, wow, I really like this person. I'm getting off this app. Let me check and make sure they're not like doodling around on here, whatever doodling means. And then you find out they are. It's okay to say to that person, hey, okay, let me level with you. I'm about to delete this app because I want to concentrate on us. I was really disappointed to see that it's you
100%.
Shirtless with a tiger trying to encourage other women to fuck you.
Yeah.
You can step up to me or not. I do think there can be redemption in this too. JTrainPodcast at gmail.com. JTrainPodcast at gmail.com. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. If anxiety has you paralyzed, it's really hard to live the life you want. Therapy is an amazing way to break down your anxiety so you can live more fully. BetterHelp's online therapy is an amazing tool. Graham was saying you're in therapy yourself. Here's what I love about BetterHelp, and I've said this many times. It is a great entryway into the therapy game. Maybe you've never gone, maybe you're new to it, maybe you're just looking to browse. Wow. And to do that from your own home in a marketplace that gives you options for the type of therapy you're looking for, what a great opportunity to just check it out. And if you don't get gel with your first therapist, you can switch anytime for no additional charge, no question asked. So the beauty of online therapy is you're not paying for the offices and the waiting room. You're also able to switch with ease, go from one therapist to another. Get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JTrain today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. Better H-E-L-P. BetterHelp.com/JTrain. BetterHelp.com/JTrain.
Just know that if you switch therapists, they may check your profile. So don't get a new photo.
If you switched your photos around,
yeah.
Go check out Graham K at Mr. Graham K on Instagram. The one-man show is called Pete and Me, and it is at the Under St. Mark's Theater. Go to at Mr. Graham K. His YouTube special's there. The tickets for the theater show is there. Unwanted friend who was never really a friend. Jared, thanks for all the entertainment and advice you provide. Anyway, I'm a 28-year-old woman who uses social media pretty regularly, but I've been trying to avoid messages from a woman I don't really know who seems to be trying to form a friendship. I was on a soccer team with this person when we were 6, and we never hung out outside of soccer then or any other time since then. I accepted a Facebook friend request from her a few years ago because I'm admittedly nosy, and it can be fun to see how people from your childhood turned out. LOL. I don't think it's nosy to accept a friend request from someone you were on a soccer team at 6. People reconnect that way all the time. We didn't interact on Facebook at all, but recently she's been sending me these messages, usually just trying to make small talk. I would sometimes respond to be polite, but most of the time I would just avoid opening the message. However, she has recently been sending even more messages, often asking more personal things. I'm a bisexual woman, and during Pride Month, I did post a few things related to being queer or events for Pride Month in my city. She then asked if I was part of the LGBTQ plus community and what my pronouns are, if I'm seeing someone, what their name is, etc. I can see on her page that she is in a relationship with a woman, and so am I. So I'm not sure if she was just trying to make a new friend or what. Either way, I ignored her personal questions, and she followed up with, I would love to talk to you more. For some reason, I would feel bad about just unfriending her, but since I find these messages weird and too personal, I decided I just need to say something to her or to let her know I'm not interested in pursuing a friendship or anything. How should I go about this? Thanks in advance, the potentially rude queer. What do you think, Graham K?
I think this person is hitting on you, and they want to sleep with you, and you are, if you're not into it, just slowly ignore them. Just
right. You know, it is.
If you've never met with the person, you can always ghost, I feel.
There's got to be another folder. Like, you know, on Instagram, there's like the restricted button where you can like put this person under restricted phylum, and you can always see the messages that come through, and you can just delete them and just know that they have done something in the past that it's really not worth talking to them in the future, and kind of let the baby cry itself out in the way that you're talking about. I think for this, and I agree with you, I think this person's hitting on you. I think Facebook is the way this all goes down. It's always this way. When you hear about people cheating or people getting outside of their marriage or people getting outside of their relationship, it's always with a, hey, remember soccer when we were 6? And then it turns into, who you seeing? Oh, you're part of the LGBTQ plus community as well? And then, oh, you know, I've been with my wife for this many years. Things have been tough lately. Like it always... This is kind of the story that you hear. And Graham, you and I are the same age. Like, we're similar ages. Like, you hear this from the post-30s people, like, that you're like, and you hear these stories, like, too removed. Oh, it started with this Facebook thing. It's a friend request. And also it's a warm lead. Like, you know, these people, you are like, it's funny that like one person's, I haven't seen this person since I was 6 and we played youth soccer, as another person's, hey, you know, we know each other from 6 and they're part of the community and they're bi.
I'm just looking for an in. I'm just looking for an in. That's
yeah,
all.
The person trying to cheat is looking for an in. The person who's like, "What's going on?" is wondering, "Why am I interacting with someone from youth soccer at 6 years old?"
Yeah, because they want to use your holes. That's why.
they are in. They want in.
They want in. They want in.
So you go the path of least resistance, which is to say nothing.
Yeah, because then you haven't met them. I mean, if you've hung out with somebody a couple times, I feel like you always should. You even if you met them online, they're human beings. You should text them, at least make up some excuse. But if you've never met them, path of least resistance, just be like, "Oh, I forgot," or just you keep every once in a don't respond. And then they'll write something, and then you can be like, "Oh, I've been busy. Maybe later." And then they'll eventually get the idea.
Don't you think that's so much headspace to give to someone that you really just want nothing to do with? I mean, to me, there's two options.
Am I being a coward? Should I talk to my therapist about this?
I think there's a cowardly option too, though. We can put them in the spam folder and forget they ever existed. You can be friends with them. You can mute them, put them in the spam folder. It just keeps going to spam. They'll be talking to themselves for the rest of their lives. You don't have to think about it anymore. That's one option, and I think that's like closer to the option you're giving. Here's my other option. Hey, you wait until they ask you a personal question again. You write back to them, "Hey, I really appreciate the messages. I'm not looking to have that even sounded too strong. Hey, I appreciate your messages. I'm in a very loving, happy relationship. These questions feel too personal for me. I wish you only the best, but I'm going to step away at this time." I think that's like a stern enough thing to say where, the bug scurries away, so to speak, or they get apologetic.
So you're advocating being an adult. That's fair.
There's an adult way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say something along those lines for sure. You could do that.
Easier advice to give than to take. I agree.
Totally. Maybe you could be like, "Things are really busy right now with my wife. Things are, we got a lot of stuff planned. I'll let you know if something frees up."
It's like one of those things too, that to me, some people just never get it. Like, if you go half, they take the half where they're not bothering you. Like, I just think being direct. I also think the interesting part about this is like an option is to say, "We should go on a double date." And then you watch them go, I don't know about that. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. And then they back away and they never want to do it. But that's too much of a risk. Like they might. But then
you end up on a double date.
Yeah. Then you end up on, and you're like, what? And then they're like licking their lips across the table.
When you're 28 and you haven't seen somebody for 22 years,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's wild.
I know, but these things happen, and like the thing is, here's the annoying part about this person is we both know they're hitting on you, but they have kept a grip onto blissful naivete. So they always get the opportunity to be like, "Oh, whoa, I was just trying to be friends. I'm just trying to catch up with someone that I haven't seen since I was 6 years old." And they get to take the moral hierarchy in this whole thing. And again, I'm always going to be on this person's side. This person is right. This is uncomfortable. This is annoying. So you have two people here agreeing with you. So either put them in spam or be direct, because I think in the court of public opinion, they can always say, "Oh, whoa, I'm just trying to be friends," but you know what's going on.
Yeah.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Graham K at Mr. Graham K on Instagram. Go follow. When packing for a trip, it's easy to focus on the clothes and toothbrush and totally overlook what suitcase you're using. One of the suitcases, wheels won't spin. There isn't enough room for everything you were planning on bringing. There aren't enough pockets to keep everything organized. Listen, I'm going to be done with this script right now because I have base. I love base. I use it every time I travel. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm traveling every week pretty much. And There has been no luggage that has lived up to what Base has done for me. There's so many compartments. It has a cushioned handle that like you think you don't need, and then you have it and you're like, I'm never going to live without this again. It has 360-degree gliding wheels. It fits in every overhead. It has a built-in weight indicator, washable bags for your dirty clothes. It has so much room that I have one pocket that I have dedicated to golf supplies. And you're like, Jared, do you golf all the time? No. Are you looking it up right now? It's beautiful.
I'm in the market for a new carry-on because I like you. I travel every weekend and mine is like cracking.
Oh, I will tell you this right now. It's the most. I brought it to Europe. I brought this bag, the Base rolling bag, and the Weekender to Europe. That's all I needed. I was there for 2.5 weeks or something. I was all there, and all my luggage. Again, I'm bringing up the golf compartment because I'm using compartments for nothing. Like I'm not even like, like I'm wasting a pocket. And you would think, well, that's lunacy. Well, there's enough room for everything. Right now, Base is offering JTrain listeners 15% off your first purchase by visiting basetravel.com/JTrain. Go to basetravel.com/JTrain for 15% off your first purchase. That's BEIS travel.com/JTrain. Here with Graham K, his show, Pete and Me. It's at the Under St. Mark's Theater, October 5th, 7th, 12th, 13th, and 14th at Mr. Graham K. I'm telling you right now, you're going to love this show. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be on cloud nine. This is the time of year to do New Yorkie stuff, to go to St. Mark Street, get a good dinner, have a date, get some drinks, go see an amazing show, go see something that's personal and wonderful and not something that's put out by Paramount or something. It's just a personal endeavor, and that's what Graham's doing. So go at Mr. Graham K. Lying with Love. Should my son tell his grandfather he is getting married, even if he's years away from it? Jared and generous guest, wishing you piles of whisper soft feathers, sweet talking your junk. Mm-hmm. While I am not in your target demographic, I'm squarely Gen X. I'm sorry. I am squarely Gen X. I adore your podcast and have listened to your entire back catalog. Thank you. Your humor and grace are an addictive cocktail. Well, thank you. I'll get to it. My son and his girlfriend of 3 years are committed to one another and have said that while they are not sure they are into the idea of marriage, if they were, they would marry each other. Even as a Jewish mother, that's totally fine with me. I already think of his significant other as my daughter-in-law and love her dearly. Here's my issue. My father-in-law is 82, living in Israel and not in good health. My kids only get to see their grandparents a few times a year, and each time they return, they report their grandfather's deteriorating health, especially his memory, and concerns that each visit might be the last one. Every time my son and his girlfriend visit, his grandfather asks about when they are getting married, but more significantly, when they are having kids. He is genuinely saddened that none of his 8 grandchildren are engaged, let alone married with kids. I told my son when he visits in August, he should do his grandfather a mitzvah of sorts and announce an engagement and let him know they definitely want kids once they're married. To me, it falls under the true enough category of white lies. It will bring an old ailing man buckets full of joy. This is not a ploy to get my kid married, rather to bring some light to an aging man who, though he's losing his memory by 1,000 little drops, will be over the moon to know his grandson will be settled. Frankly, given the grandfather's short-term memory loss, they could potentially tell this lie several times and bring countless moments of happiness. My son thinks this idea is nuts. I'm hoping you and your guests have thoughts about this. Thanks so much for considering this. Wishing you only good things and continued success, whether or not that includes marriage, a potentially crazy mother. What do you think, Graham K? I love this email for you because it is on the subject of the show. It is
because I'm going senile.
Yes, this is the ending
Who
of the
are
show.
you?
Is that Graham doesn't
wife?
know who he is? Yes. So this is the big reveal. I'm sorry to ruin the show. The idea of giving yourself to someone else in a selfless way.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lifetime of that for you, or a feeling of that. No.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's something that I've been thinking about lately. But this is a little different. I mean, I don't lie to my brother, and then I'm not like, everything's gonna be all right. I got a girlfriend for you, just later,
But you put your emotional state aside to to kind of like be there for your brother. No. Like, to me, it's like the mother's ask right now, if we really break it down, is tell your grandfather a white lie so that I can feel good about my dad or father-in-law feeling good. You're doing this for your mom, really. Like,
totally. That's true.
So like, I'm sure you've been in a position where your parents are like, do this for us. Because we need the help. And I think the mom is the part the mom is not thinking of is this son of hers has to basically say, I would get married to my significant other without getting married, which will be held against him if he ever wants to back out. The reason they're not getting married is they're afraid of commitment. Yeah. And,
that's right.
And now you're kind of, taking away, you're actually hurting your son and putting your son in the thing they fear most. They're literally two people who are like, we'd get married if we were into the idea of marriage. Well, why aren't they into the idea of marriage? It's because they're afraid of disappointing the person across from them.
They're afraid.
And fucking up their lives.
Or she's afraid. Now, yeah.
Right.
One scenario, you've explained the one scenario where he would be afraid, because then that would paint him into a corner where, could end up ruining it. But
saying you would get married is as bad as getting married. But go ahead. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And then totally. And then if she is the one who is afraid, and he is not, and he wants to get married,
right,
that could potentially scare her off, and then he never gets what he wants.
Right. It's gotten too serious for what she's looking for. And now she's like, listen, this whole thing got weird. I have to do this like rom-com, tell your grandfather we're getting married. Where does this end? Like, the grandfather now lives another year. Hey, we're going to go to Israel. Wear a wedding dress for me.
Yeah.
We're going to hire an actor kid.
Yeah. This is our baby. It's just a little person.
Right. Like, I guess
it's got to be union. You can't get a kid actor. It's going to,
like, the mother is thinking of herself, and I understand that. And the mother is thinking that she's, again, she used the word mitzvah, good deed. She's thinking she's doing a good deed for the father, but she's really doing a good deed for herself and not really thinking of the whole reason her kid has decided to not get married.
She wants this listener, this lovely listener, in my opinion, wants her son to get married.
Right.
And she is hoping that this will make them realize they'll be so romantic.
Right.
They'll be in Israel. They'll be by the beach. They'll be like, we're pretend married. Maybe we should get married. Maybe we should,
They'll see a
romantic comedy.
Yeah, this is so rom-commy. They'll see the tear in Zadie's eye as he looks on to the wonderful couple, and they'll go, you know what? Let's just get married by the Sea of Galilee and, all this stuff. Yeah, I agree. This is the... She is only thinking of herself, even though she thinks she's not, because she's not even in Israel to watch the grandfather have this happy moment. She's just guessing that it's happy. She doesn't even know how happy he is.
Yeah. I think all that being said, I think they should just do it. Who cares?
I don't. No, you know what? I think it's especially if he's forgetting everything. Like, she even says, "Who cares? He forgets every 5 seconds, anyways." So then, why do you care that he's gonna forget this? And it will live with your son and his girlfriend forever, and it might drive a wedge in their relationship. They have it good right now. They're trying to figure it out, and Grandpa's figured it out. It's over for him. Zadie's dying. It's over. I'm sorry. He's going to ship off into the Dead Sea, and it's done. But this kid has a life to lead.
Is that what happens over there? They put him on a ship?
That's what we do. We put him on the on a dock, and we watch. You know, it's like a Viking funeral.
A Viking thing.
Yeah. So we put them on a menorah, and we set the menorah off into the Dead Sea.
Fire?
We only if it's going to last for 8 days. We don't want to.
I knew that. I knew I was missing something.
Right.
Yes.
If it lasts for 8 days, then they go to heaven. If it lasts for one, they got to stay and complain about the soup being cold forever. It's really a wild tradition we have. But I don't know. I do understand what she's saying.
You're fascinating people. Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you. It's a big time of year for us. I understand. I think she's wonderful and awesome. I do think she's doing the crazy mother thing of like not seeing the perspective of her son and why this might be what's small for her might be huge for him. And I think, how about they go and have a nice time with your Zadie and enjoy him without lying to him so that you can feel good way back in New Jersey. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Graham K at Mr. Graham K on Instagram. Go follow the show. Pete and me. Also, his YouTube special, Live in a Bowling Alley, is out on YouTube. You can go watch it right now. Dates asking to be friends. Jared, long-time listener. I've had 2 dates this week where I've been asked if I'd be open to connecting as friends. I'm a 32-year-old single guy living in Brooklyn. I have 5 close friends in the city. I don't need any more quote-unquote friends. While I have been going out and meeting new people and friends in New York, it feels disingenuous to be friends with anyone off the app. I'm attracted, and if we remain friends, I'll feel either one or both the parties are lying to themselves. Have you ever been friends with someone off the apps? Thank you for your wise words. As always, 32 and single. What do you think, Graham K? Would you be friends with someone you met on the apps?
No. You're on there to do one of 2 things, possibly a third thing, possibly a fourth, if you're into that. You're not there to make friends. Only, I will say this, and if you are listening and you feel hurt by this, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. But in my opinion, if you are on the apps to make friends, you're a psychopath. You're a snake in the weeds.
Right.
Get out of there. You're weirding everybody out. We're on there to meet a partner or get laid, and that's it. You know,
it's knocking on the door, being like, I'm here to give money to homeless children, and then they open up and you go, I'd like money for myself. Like, you've just been, it's disingenuous. Here's the other thing. Just because it can happen doesn't mean it has to happen. So,
that's right.
Yes, people have become friends with people they've met on dating apps. Again, the morality here is what? You don't want a friend? So, of course, this person's writing into us because they feel like a jerk. Who am I to say I don't need a friend? They are put in a position to feel like a jerk when they're not being a jerk. I have become friends with people I met on dating apps, and it was after we fucked. We got it out of our system. We both realized this isn't the match for us. We went to our separate corners of the earth. We started texting again. We had a conversation that was like, hey, let's just be friends. And we started talking about our other dating escapades. And it kind of worked out that way. You know what happened to those people? They went and got married, and I don't talk to them ever again. They weren't really friends. They were people to talk to keep up your time and energy until you found the real person for you. It really doesn't work out that way. 99% of the people you meet on dating apps are to date and to maybe, and maybe break up with or maybe not have anything happen with, and that's okay. This person...
They will always... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One of you will always want to sleep with each other because it started off that way. It didn't start off through a friend of a friend on a friend base. You both looked at each other's picture and you both decided, I want to fuck that person. Maybe.
Well, right. And what happened was, this is a male listener writing in, and they're saying, I went out with these 2 women, and they said, will you be friends? So the women got on the date with them. Were like, and again, women will go on dates because they check a lot of boxes. They seem like a nice guy. Then they get on the date and they go, not for me. And that's okay. When you're on the date as a man, I can speak for myself. I'm on the date because I really think they're attractive. I'm not going to go on a date where they're not attractive. I don't care what boxes they check. If the I'm not attracted box is checked, I ain't going. So you were on the date because you were attracted. So you will hold that with you and speak for, like, I can speak for this guy. Now, I can't speak for the woman. I think she can go, oh, he's a nice guy. And I didn't even want to fuck one to begin with, because now that I've gotten over that, they're actually being selfish, if you think about it. They're like, well, now that I've met them and I realize I don't want to fuck them, I could use a friend. And it's like, no. He met you because he wanted to fuck. So you need to be self-preserving and back away and be polite and say, listen, I appreciate the offer, but that's okay. You don't even have to say anything. I would just say, I wish you the best, or nothing. Goodbye. We went on a date. It's over. Don't answer. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. You got time for one more, Graham?
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's do one more. Let's do help all my friends are haters. Anytime I see the word hater, I usually think the person writing it. Ooh, I got a little sneeze there. Every time I see the word hater, I think the person writing it is the delusional one. Let's see.
Everyone hates me.
Right.
They're wrong.
They're wrong. Yeah. Dearest Jared and esteemed guests, I'm a 31-year-old single woman with several friend groups from different walks of life. I am the only single person in any of my groups. Normally, this doesn't bother me. My friends don't exclude me from anything. We have plenty of girls' nights, and I really enjoy most of their significant others as well. The problem is when all of my married or otherwise non-single girlfriends absolutely eviscerate the entire male population as a casual joke. It seems like all of my married friends are happy to discuss the latest dating nightmare TikTok, or how disgusting, untrustworthy, immature men are in general, except when it comes to their men, right?
Right.
It's very hard to have these conversations with happily partnered people because they have no idea how defeating it is to have to hear things like, I'm so lucky I found my husband because the dating pool is trash. I don't know how you do it. It has me feeling depressed about the dating scene, and that is the opposite of how I want to approach dating. How should I broach the subject with my friends to let them know that I really can't partake in these conversations anymore because it's affecting my mental health related to dating and relationships? Thanks. Tired of the hateration, holleration. I thought this emailer was going to be delusional. I couldn't agree with them more. I think this is a problem. I mean, you're talking, thank God you have two straight men here to agree with you, because we don't like the hatred either. But we're speaking from a reasonable point of view. Again, what they're talking about is junk food. It is the easy thing to collaborate on. Look at all these trash men, because the stories that get out there aren't the stories of, hey, we went on 3 dates and really connected and deleted the apps at the same time, and now we're in a happy, stable relationship. That doesn't go viral on TikTok. The only thing that goes viral is the garbage, which it feels like is out there more than when it actually isn't as much as what we see. What do you think, Graham?
Totally. I think that these people are also, first of all, 100% agree. Second of all, these people are probably projecting. You know, they might have gotten into a fight with their husband, and they're like, you know what? At least I'm not out there. Everyone out there is trash. I found somebody. You know, they're trying to twist. They're convincing themselves that they've made the right choice. Every time they say something like that, they're trying to convince themselves and everyone around them that they figured it out. They made the right choice, and their life is perfect. They're like doing an Instagram profile in real life for you of their life.
Sure, he spits on the sink when he brushes his teeth, but at least he's not this ghoster that's out there on TikTok.
Yeah. By the way, he's out with his friends right now, and he's not getting back to me, and it's pissing me off.
Right. I agree. It is about them, not you. Could not agree more. And I think, again, like I talk about this on the special, I talk about, your married friends, basically talking about your life as if they pity it and they don't see, and honestly, there's some jealousy in there when they talk about it that way. They go, well, I got to talk trash on it because I don't want to think of it as actually being a fun time or being something where something better could have been out there for me, even though I signed up for long term on this life. And it does get annoying because, again, everyone's a fuckboy until they're your guy, and then they're a salt of the earth. Oh, my God, my dad is a hero amongst men. And the reality is everyone's just fine. Not good, not bad, somewhere in the middle, somewhere on the spectrum of great to garbage. So I think, how does she say something to her friends?
I mean, that's
the hard part.
I think you can just be honest and be like, guys, I am out there dating.
Yeah.
And it's discouraging. You just be completely honest, because what you're saying is actually, once you put it out to them, I think, especially if they're your real friends, they'll be like, oh yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Yeah,
right.
Course.
People get carried away.
I think you're 100% your feelings are 100% valid. If I was in your shoes, I feel like I would feel the same thing. I'm out there. It's not easy to put yourself out there. It's not easy to choose photos and then choose a profile. Do I look good in this one? Is someone going to swipe on me? It's disgusting. The whole thing is embarrassing. 3
dates in, you got to go back and change your photos so you can try and fuck as many people as possible.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that you can keep dating this one. Well, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. No,
it's hard keeping all them straight.
It's not easy, and I think this person knows that. Your friends obviously know that. They're talking about it. Next time they bring this up, or get in that hating thing, I think what Graham's saying is right. A little vulnerability goes a long way, where you go, hey, I know this is a fun conversation, but I'm actually out there amongst these people and may go on a date with one of these garbage people, but I'm really trying to block that out so that I can stay positive. Does anyone here work with someone that might be single as well that you don't think is garbage? Can we have a positivity minute? I would do that.
Yeah.
Hey, let's have a positivity minute, because your girl here is still single. Name one cool guy you know. Let's do that. So you guys have your negative time, negative Nancy time. Okay, that's over. Now it's positive minute. I want to hear from each of you one guy that you like hanging out with at work or in friendships or your husband's friends. If you can't produce one, you can't hate. I would go 1 for 1. You can talk shit if you bring me, manna from heaven. Bring me some sustenance if you want to keep chewing on the fat of these garbage dudes.
Yeah. Or I'm just going to list all of the freedoms I have and how there's no pee on my toilet seat.
Right. Or I'm going to tell you what about your husbands turned me off, because now you'll never unsee them.
Yeah.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Graham K., thank you for coming on. This was fantastic.
Thank you so much. I had a great time. Last time I did this podcast a couple years ago, I had a few people reach out, and it was awesome. You got a great group of fans and listeners.
We love to hear it. They come out for the shows. I know that, especially a one-man show in New York. We've had guests in the past where people have gone out and really enjoyed themselves. So we want everyone to go check out Graham's show at Mr. Graham K on Instagram. It is called Pete and Me. It's a wonderful show under St. Mark's Theater, October 5th, 7th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. I'm Jared Freed. We're here every Monday with your emails. Keep sending them in. JTrainPodcast at gmail.com. Back next week. Boom.